got to talk about the college football playoff bracket and break it down. And I'm going to give you the answer to the test. I'm going to give you who is going to win, because the bracket, the college football playoff committee, they clearly were working with me, because the two teams that I picked to finish in the national championship before the season even started are right in the perfect spots to end up in the championship. So listen, you might call it Nostradamus, but it is what it is. But college football is great. It has never been better than it is right now. And all of this Alabama being left out and everything else, it is great for the sport. And winning a college football national championship has never been harder than it is right now. Never. Think about it. You used to just have to win one game in the BCS, 2 games in the 14 playoff. Now, if you don't get a bye, you might have to win 4 games against top tier opponents. And that has never happened. These coaches, they got to earn their money right now. They got to keep their team healthy, focused, and keeping them ready is going to be difficult. The thing that I love about this season is that pretty much any team can be beat if you do not bring your A game. And that includes the helmet right there. But I'm going to tell you right now, we are going to have upsets. They tried to tell us, oh, there will be no upsets. Yes, there will. Here is the bracket that they gave us. And in the first round matchup, we got Ohio State, Tennessee. When we look at the line on that game, the way it first came out, 7.5 point, Ohio State's a 7.5 point favorite. Texas and Clemson. Texas is an 11-point favorite in that game when that first opened up. SMU versus Penn State. Penn State's an 8.5 point favorite. And then in Indiana versus Notre Dame, Notre Dame opened up an 8-point favorite. We will start with that SMU Penn State game. This is supposed to be the easy route. SMU is good. I am telling you that, like, if you have not had a chance to watch them play, you do not fully understand. And this is a team, since they switched their quarterback to Kevin Jennings, this team has not lost. They started the season out. They played Nevada. That was a close game. Then they played Houston Christian or something like that. Then they lost to BYU. And then that's when they made the quarterback change. And they've been on a roll since then. Ran through TCU, Florida State, Louisville. And these have not been close games. They have been running people over, except for that Duke win, 28-27. Beat the hell out of Pitt, Boston College, Virginia, Cal. And then they played Clemson. And when they played Clemson, they were a little bit of deer in the headlights in the beginning. So people don't fully understand how this is going to work. But I do believe that Penn State, with that Oregon game, got a little more battle tested. Their offensive coordinator, genius with the scheme. If this game were in Dallas instead of Happy Valley, where it is going to be cold, that crowd is going to be loud. I was at the Big Ten championship, and on the field, bruh, it was loud. It was like damn near a Penn State home game. So their people are going to travel. And look at their record. This is a team that is only giving up 16 points per game. And people are like, well, they can't beat the elite teams. They played Ohio State and Oregon. And they lost by a touchdown in both games. This is a very good football team. I am going to take Penn State to beat SMU in the first round of the playoffs. Good job, Penn State. Good job, Penn State. There you go. You get to advance. And then they get to play Boise State. And remember, Boise State gave Oregon hell this year. So we'll get to that game next. But next up, let's get to this Notre Dame, Indiana game. This is a game of in-state. Now, mind you, they have not been in-state rivals because Indiana couldn't rival anybody. This is the first time that Indiana has ever won 10 games in their history. Shout out to the man, Kurt Singetti, who has done a ridiculous job at his job in making people believe. And when he showed up at that press conference and was like, Ohio State sucks, Penn State sucks, and everything else. And they have been knocking people's doors off, dude. Averaging 43 points a game. only giving up 14. This is a top 2 offense in the country and a top 6 defense in the country. And people will point to that Ohio State game and think that this team can't win. And I am going to tell you for a fact that Ohio State game, yes, they were a little bit overwhelmed, but they lost because of special teams. It wasn't like Ohio State just jumped on them and just marched up and down the field, because that's not what happened. Indiana's defense was getting stops. It would have been 7-7 at halftime if the punter don't drop the damn snap. Just saying. And they're going against Notre Dame and their head coach, Marcus Freeman, who there are some whispers about with him in the Chicago Bears job. That may impact the way that this team goes, because I've seen it many, many times. When the head coach starts flirting around with other people, all of a sudden, then things don't go the way that they are supposed to. And I do see in the chat. I do apologize. I did not mention Curtis Rourke in terms of quarterbacks that I trust, because, well, do you trust your quarterback? Apologies, because he should have been listed, because he's actually, honestly, one of the quarterbacks higher on the list that I trust any more than the rest of these dudes. But anyways, so to go back to the game, this Notre Dame team, look at the stats. Top 3 offense. Top 3 defense. And people have been complaining about these schedules. Oh, Notre Dame doesn't play anybody. SMU doesn't play anybody. All right, cool story, bro. Because the reality is that when we look at these SEC schedules, and we'll get to this point in just a little bit, when we look at Texas, we look at Georgia, and we look at Tennessee, people aren't being honest about these things. They're not, because they're non-conference schedules. They're like, oh, we're not going to schedule people. You already played 3 bad teams in a non-conference anyway, so you're not doing anything different than anybody else is doing. But when I am college football commissioner, schedules will be the first thing that get fixed. But in this game, though, give me the Notre Dame Fighting Irish. I have believed in this team before the season started. I got nervous after that Northern Illinois loss. I was like, oh my God, they're going to mess around and end up firing Marcus Freeman, aren't they? Nope. Finished the season 11-1. And the most important thing about this Notre Dame team is that they have figured out who they are. They understand who they are. They are not asking Riley Leonard to go back and throw for 300 yards and everything. No, they are going to run the football down your face. They are going to be efficient in the pass game, and they are going to play phenomenal defense. That's just the truth. And Riley Leonard is doing a good job of not turning the ball over, and then also not doing too much. But remember the thing I told you. At some point in time, your quarterback has to be a superhero to win the game. And I don't know if he can be a superhero at any point in time. But you can get to the Natty without him being a superhero. He's got to do it at some point in time. So give me Notre Dame to win that game. All right, next one up. We got Texas and Clemson. Texas and Clemson. I went back and forth on this game so much. I went back and forth on this game so much because initially, I wanted to give an edge to Texas. I was like, yo, this is it. And then I wanted to give the edge to Clemson, and I was confused. And I scratched it out, went back and forth. And then I decided, nah, I am going to trust that Steve Sarkisian and Quinn Ewers are going to be able to get it done in their first round matchup. This is a quarterback. I try to explain it to people. When you watch Quinn Ewers, it feels like you have 85% of what you want. Feels like you have 85%, and you're like, oh, just give me the next 15%. Because there's something that it reminds me of Jackson Dart when I watch him at Ole Miss. So much to like, Should he go to the NFL at some point in time? Yes, they're going to be on the NFL rosters. But it feels like that last 15% is what's going to separate them from being good NFL players. And it shows up at college too. But this Texas team, they have been smothering on defense, only giving up 12.5 points per game. They have zero. Now, their win-loss record versus the top 25 is 4-2 in terms of when they played them. But considering that the teams that are currently ranked, 0 top 25 wins. So why isn't anybody talking about this Texas team when we keep talking about SMU schedule, Indiana schedule? Texas has not played the world beater of schedules either. And they have lost twice to Georgia, including with their backup quarterback. But this team is smothering on defense. Their offense can sputter at times, but I do believe that this defense is so damn good that they are going to be able to take care of Clemson because Cade Klubnik, because this is who do I trust more? Do I trust Cade Klubnik at Clemson or do I trust Quinn Ewers at Texas? Hell, I trust Arch Manning probably more than I trust Cade Klubnik. Now, on the Clemson side of things, Clemson plays good defense. They do. I like Dabo Swinney. And people talk about Dabo, and Dabo stands on business. There are so many people that are like, oh, my God, Dabo needs to hop in the transfer portal. And isn't this the thing that we love about college football is people who, like, they don't have a bunch of people transfer out. He recruits high school players, develops them, whatever happens, happens. He's already won national championships. And people are like, oh, his games have passed him by. Think, no. And making the college football playoff with a good defense, typically, right? This is not the normal Clemson swallowing defense. 22 points per game, but they're averaging 35. And that's where I think that Clemson is going to lose this football game. They're not going to be able to stop Texas enough on the offensive end. That's where it is going to get tough for them. But now on to the next game. So we got Ohio State, Tennessee. First of all, big shout out to Ohio State. You are doing the University of Tennessee fans dirty, and I love it. Now, mind you, I got nothing against Tennessee fans. If Tennessee was doing this to Ohio State, I would be shouting out Ohio State. The Shoe, their stadium seats 102,870 people, and they are only allocating 3,500 tickets to Tennessee fans. Bravo, buddy. And then they're shaming their own fans. If you sell your ticket, you are not a real Buckeye fan. So they're shaming you in the community, and they are making sure, man, this is phenomenal work. This is what college football is about. In terms of elite college football road environments, Ohio State, the Shoe is not one. Is it a very good one? Yes. But no, it's not up there with the elite of the elites. Penn State's environment's probably better. Oregon's is better. There are a few others that are extreme. I would go with Tennessee in Knoxville. Phenomenal environment. So this Tennessee team, though, they are 10-2 on the season. They do have one nasty loss, but they also beat Alabama. And their offense doesn't match what the stats say in terms of they're averaging 37 points per game. But it is the fact that their offense has sputtered so much, and everything about their offense is about their quarterback, Nico Iamaleava, who's a redshirt freshman right now from out here in Cali, Warren High School. Like the kid, he's a good kid, comes from, his family's good, all of those things. The issue with this team, though, is that when he is on target and making good plays with the football, this team is one of the best teams in college football offensively. But when he's not, which has been more often than not this season, this offense can sputter. And they are led by their running back and their running game. And if you can put a dent in that running game, you are going to beat this football team. And Tennessee's running back, oh, the kid is electric. Absolutely electric. And there's so many times that we get to pointing to defense, because Tennessee has only allowed 20 points in a game twice this season on defense. Only allowed 20 points twice. That was against Vanderbilt in their last game of the season, and it was against and it was against Georgia when they lost 31-17. So they only gave up 20 points 2 times this season on defense. And we have watched Ohio State be stifled on offense a few times this year. We have watched them. They were stifled against Penn State. They had trouble in a couple other games this year on the offense. So, and they had trouble in the Michigan game. And it is inexplicable because they have Judkins. They have Henderson at running back. They have, and I know that their offensive line has been hurt. They got 3 guys out for the season, but even before that, it wasn't as consistent as you would like to see. Their wide receivers, Jeremiah Smith, Igbuka, and the rest of the crew are really good and explosive. But Ohio State just refuses to just stand back there and just like pew, 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 throw the ball all over the place, which leads me to believe that they do not trust Will Howard on that level. That's what that leads me to believe. That they like Will Howard, but they don't love Will Howard like that enough to trust him to stand back there and throw the ball 45 times if they need be. I'm just saying. And you guys can hop down in the chat. I asked you guys. And question here. Ohio State's weaknesses starts with the coaching, if we're being honest. And you can't have a roster that is this talented, that has been this efficient, particularly on defense. They have smothered people on defense. And then you consider all the talent on this team. The only reason why Ryan Day has been losing so many of these big games is because of Ryan Day. There has been an ego involved, particularly in the Michigan game. Oh, we want to run the ball down their throat. Chill, man. Just win the damn football game. Let your ego go. And I believe that, and remember I told you that this is where the coaches are going to earn their money, in these big games, the championship games, and then in the college football playoff. And Ryan Day, however he's coaching his team in their meetings, in their when he's standing up there and talking to them, he's making his team tight. And the game plan that they are calling is to not make mistakes. And if you play scared, if you play timid, football doesn't work. If you never remember anything that I tell you, fortune favors the aggressive. However, fortune can favor all the aggressive that they want in this game. The Tennessee Vols go up to the shoe and knock out Ohio State. Sorry to tell you. Question, how does Ryan Day still have a job? Because the buyout's like $50 million. And there are 2 rules to firing a coach. So if you go on Unafraid show real quick, after you watch this, is I have a video, 2 rules to firing a head coach. One of them is there a coach that you can guarantee get that will do a better job? And number 2, is there a loss of hope? And, that's the situation. All right, now we will get to the next part of the bracket. Penn State, Boise State. I got a chance to see Boise State more than anybody else probably in this chat because I'm a college football degenerate. I watch it all day long. I watch any games that I don't get a chance to watch live, I will watch later, because when you go on the Unafraid show or you're watching me here on Bleacher Report, you expect me to know everything going on, and that's why I'm here for it. And everybody will talk about Ashton Jeanty, and yes, the kid is phenomenal. He is electric, but he's only one man. And UNLV was able to stifle him and shut him down. And when they play this game in Arizona, it is going to be indoors. It is going to be tough. And Penn State's, I got a chance to see Penn State live and in person against Oregon. The team was a little smaller on defense than I thought they were. And Abdul Carter, who was the Big Ten Defensive Player of the Year, he's slender built, and Oregon was running at Abdul Carter. And that's exactly what Boise State is going to do. However, the issue is that Penn State's roster, Penn State, at some point in time, you run out of talent. And in this game, I believe Boise State is going to fight hard, but it is going to be much like their game against Oregon. They fought hard. They are a good team. They deserve to be here. But I do believe that Penn State is going to make 3 or 4 more plays than Boise State, but I do believe it is going to be a close game. But Penn State on to the semifinals. Next game up. Oh, everybody's looking for this one. Notre Dame playing against Georgia. Oh, everybody's looking for that one. Oh, they're like, oh, see, look, oh, the ride will stop. Here goes Georgia winning another national. No, I would not care if Carson Beck was healthy. If Carson Beck was healthy, the pick in this game would still be the same. Georgia's offensive line doesn't protect him like they have in the past. Remember, remove the logo. This is a 2-loss team and a team that went to 8 overtimes with Georgia Tech. Georgia Tech pushed Georgia around. Notre Dame is built out of the same vein, except for they are better. But this Georgia team only giving up 20 points a game, which is more than they have the last few seasons. They won the SEC championship, but you see the last button down there? Carson Beck got hurt. And fortunately enough for them, they do have a bye and they don't play until January 1st. So they have a lot of time to get Gunnar Stockton or whoever else is going to be their quarterback. Where it's going to be Jaden Rashada or whoever else they want to put back there to get them in line and be ready to go. But this is not the way you want to break in your freshman or your first-time starting quarterback. This is not the way you want to break him in against Notre Dame's defense. Because this defense, we've already talked about it. Marcus Freeman is a defensive head coach, and it is going to be tough. So give me Notre Dame over Georgia. Notre Dame over Georgia. People are going to be shocked, but I don't want to hear nothing about it because that is going to happen. Notre Dame is better than Georgia this season. You have to trust Riley Leonard more than you trust Carson Beck, who's probably not going to be in the game, and damn for sure more than you trust Gunnar Stockton. And Notre Dame has the better defense. That's a game that I'm excited to watch, and people are going to be paying attention to the logos more than the game. All right, next game up, Texas versus Arizona State. This game will be in the Chick-fil-A Peach Bowl in Atlanta. Excited about this one. Arizona State. I know people got a chance to watch them finally in the Big 12 championship against Iowa State. They were picked last in the Big Ten. They have one of the youngest coaches in college football, in Kenny Dillingham. And if you don't know who he is, he was Oregon's offensive coordinator before the current one now, Will Stein. And then he was at Florida State. He's been with Norvell. He's been with now Dan Lanning. He's experienced, been coaching since he was 17 years old. 33 points per game. And this defense has absolutely stiffened up as the season has gone on. And there is a man on their team who absolutely needs to be at the Heisman Trophy ceremony, and that is their running back, Cam Scatterbo. He's doing things that only a few running backs have done in the history of college football. Man is over 1,400 yards rushing and over 500 yards receiving. He is carrying this team on his back, and people have compared him to Toby Gerhart. Why? Because he's white. He's not Toby Gerhart. He is, if we want to go with white guy comparisons, it is Toby Gerhart and Christian McCaffrey. If they had a baby, it would be Cam Scatterbo. He's fast enough to break away if he gets in where you can't catch him if he gets out in space. He is shifty enough to make you miss in the hole, but then he's powerful enough to run you the hell over. If he died on his tombstone, it would say, "Here lies a football player." Because last year when Arizona State's quarterbacks got hurt, he played quarterback. He's punted the ball. He has received the ball. He's played tight end. He's done every single thing that you could ask a football player to do. But with all of that said, Cinderella's slipper is going to fall off. And I text Kenny Dillingham yesterday. Congratulations, man. Good job. Go kick some ass. They end up playing Texas. Now, mind you, if they play Clemson, I would pick Arizona State. But if they end up playing Texas, they're going to lose this Texas game. And it's unless this defense finds a way to turn over Quinn Ewers, which is definitely possible. But I'm going to take Texas in this game. Somebody said, what Georgia have you been watching in this game? Listen, Georgia will be 10-point favorite. It doesn't matter how big of a favorite that you are. Betting lines are to get people to bet on both sides of the spread. How many double-digit 2-touchdown teams have we seen lose this year? A lot. Just the facts. All right, Tennessee and Oregon. People have talked about, Oregon has a hard road with Ohio playing the winner of Ohio State and Tennessee. These teams are ranked where they are for a reason. They are not consistent. That's why Ohio State and Tennessee are in the 8-9 seed, because they haven't been consistent this year. And styles will make fights in the college football playoff. But this Oregon Ducks team, one of the best in the country on offense, this defense gets stiff. They are good on special teams. This is a complete football team. An experienced head coach, only 3 years, but he's been on national championship rosters. They are going to go to the Rose Bowl, which is a long flight for Tennessee. And the last time Oregon played Tennessee, LaMichael James running all over them to the damn Heisman Trophy ceremony. And I am going to take this Oregon Ducks team 13-0, top 15 offense, top 13 defense, 3-0 versus top 25 teams, and won the Big Ten championship. Think about this. They beat Ohio State, Penn State, Michigan, and Michigan State in the same year. Never been done in college football. Never been done in the Big Ten. Never been done. That's when you know that this team is battle tested. They have had multiple games where they've had to travel across 2 time zones. Nobody's been able to fade that. Give me the Oregon Ducks. Then we got the Notre Dame Fighting Irish versus the Penn State Nittany Lions in the semifinal game. We've talked about these teams ad nauseum, but this is a game where Notre Dame's front is going to be able to neutralize Penn State, because Penn State's, they don't use their wideouts very much. It is their tight end, Ty Warren, and Notre Dame has the linebackers and the safeties to be able to control Ty Warren. Oregon was able to keep him under 100 yards. Notre Dame will be able to keep him under 100 yards. But the difference is Notre Dame will be able to road grade them on running the football, and their quarterback won't make mistakes in Riley Leonard. Notre Dame wins this game, goes to the national championship, and people will be talking about Marcus Freeman again. He can't win the big one. He had an easy route versus SMU and Boise State. No matter the fact that he ended up in the semifinal. But give me the Notre Dame Fighting Irish. And then we got Oregon versus Texas. See, this is tough because you guys see what's behind me, this Oregon helmet. But if you've been watching the Unafraid show, you know that I'm an honesty broker. Last year, I said Washington was better than Oregon. And they did it. I tell you the truth. Oregon's secondary is good enough to beat Texas. Mateo Uiagalelei, Jordan Birch, Harmon, the rest of the defensive line is going to be in Quinn Ewers' lap. And we saw what happened when they played against Georgia both times. When Quinn Ewers is under pressure, he turns into a pumpkin. And Oregon's pressure game is going to give him problems because he's not a runner. If he were a mobile quarterback, it would be definitely a different story. Because mobile quarterbacks they give everybody trouble, but they give Oregon trouble too. The Oregon Ducks will take down Texas. And that game will probably be in Dallas. Actually, I would rather it be in the Orange Bowl because that would be a de facto home game for Texas, but no. And the national championship, Oregon versus Notre Dame. I picked this before the season. And just so happens, the committee understood the assignment and the teams understood the assignment during the season, and they've put themselves in position to make it happen. Now, Oregon's defense is good enough to slow down Notre Dame's run game. And if Notre Dame, this is just like every other team that Oregon has played, when they make them one-dimensional, and this is why the Penn State game didn't turn into a blowout, because they couldn't turn them one-dimensional until the end of the fourth quarter. As soon as they turn you into you have to drop back and throw the football, it is a problem. It is a problem. Secondary is good. Linebackers have been getting better because that's probably the one weak spot on Oregon's team, on their defense. Well, the weaker part of their team is in the linebacker group. But when that defensive line gets to get active, it is a problem. And that is what will happen against Notre Dame. The Oregon Ducks will hoist their first national championship. They will be the winner. And I know, George, you're only picking that because no, you guys know it. There's a reason why they went 13-0. There's a reason why in their first season in the Big Ten. And there's a lot of people, like, I believe in sports curses. Curse of the Bambino, all the other curses. Believe in them. But here's the thing that I do believe, that to break a curse or that you have to overcome some sort of hard circumstance. Think about the Chicago Cubs when they won their World Series, after 108 years. They were playing against the Cleveland Guardians. They were down 3-1, I think, in that series. To break that curse, they had to overcome something hard. And for Oregon to get its first national championship, they are going to have to do something hard. Go through Tennessee or Ohio State, then go through Texas, then go through another blue blood in Notre Dame, and they will win. But let me get to your comments before we end this thing today. See what you guys had to say. There's a lot of people that do not believe that Notre Dame can beat Georgia. You guys are paying attention to the logos, people. Georgia has been wildly inconsistent. Think about if Texas, who was moving up and down the field on them, if Quinn Ewers had been better in between the 25s. They score touchdowns instead of just having to just throw jump balls. They score touchdowns. And if they score a couple touchdowns there, Georgia can't come back and win, whether it's Carson Beck or Gunnar Stockton. But it's the truth. But you guys, though, I'm George Wrighster. You guys can find me here on Bleacher Report again in a few days, talking about the college football playoff. You can find me on Unafraid Show on YouTube. Hit me up on Twitter. I'm one of them people that actually responds to you, at George Wrighster, at Unafraid Show. You guys, thanks for your time. Thanks for your energy, because your time is the most valuable thing that you have, and I appreciate you spending it with me. Peace out. Catch you guys later.